I'm very pro caffeine. I love it. I drink it every day. But I am, especially now talking about this episode, I'm a little bit more weary of like how much I'm drinking and how it affects me.
Yep.
I think when I'm feeling tired, sometimes I just need like actual water and I'm like, oh, I must need another coffee. But it's really, I haven't drank anything all day.
Yeah, I think it leads us to like being able to turn to a quick fix a little too easily. Like sometimes, you need to get up and move your body. You need to drink water. Maybe you're hungry. Maybe you need to go out in the sunlight. I think it's like kind of just a Band-Aid to be able to slap on top of a lot of underlying needs, which I find myself doing as well, because it's so much easier to drink something than to get up and like move my body. So yeah, I think we can all just be more conscious of how often we're like reaching to it for a quick fix.
Right.
They said that we'd grow out of it. Well, the joke's on them, that's just our brains. We're eccentric, loud, and stubborn. And most of our clothing is covered in stains. It's not a deficit of attention. There's just too much to think about. So if executive dysfunction becomes a little too much, if you forgot why you came in this room, or you're hypersensitive to touch, then put on your seamless socks and come join our little flock. Bitches stimming together, we're weirds of a feather. Weirds of a feather.
Welcome to... We're recording. Okay.
Yeah, go for it. I just didn't know you're jumping right into it.
I'm jumping.
Efficient.
I'm jumping.
You're on it.
On it. Kind of. Welcome to Weirds of a Feather, an AuDHD-Adjacent podcast. I'm your host, Kristin Stanhope.
And I'm your host, Grace Bure.
Welcome. It's cold down here.
Surprisingly so.
Yeah. Let's get warm. I got a warm-up question. This was sent in by a listener. Do I know who that listener is? No, I do not.
Not a chance.
But I thought it was a really good question, so I wrote it down. How do you deal with your icky days, also known as Dementor days or low dope days? But this person is calling them icky days. I'm sorry I can't remember who sent this in. But how do you deal with them? What's your deal? What's your process? Walk me through.
Well, all right. So I usually will turn on my sad lamp, sit under my sad lamp. I got a big, nice sad lamp.
Nice.
It doesn't do a ton. I don't know. It helps a little bit. If it's nice out, I'll go and lay in the sun, kind of recharge like a lizard.
Yeah.
I usually just give myself full permission to lean into it and, watch the junk I want to watch, let myself go on TikTok.
Yep.
Just kind of eat the snacks I'm craving. Taking a shower really helps.
Yeah. Who would have thought a shower is so therapeutic?
It really changes the whole day.
Yeah.
But I feel like I do have a bad habit of when I'm having an icky day, I kind of spiral into this is how I'm going to feel forever. And I don't always use strategies to like make myself feel better. I'm just like mad about it,
Yeah. I feel like when I have a low dope day, it's very like all consuming and I just can't get out of it. So
same.
I kind of like commit the day.
Same. And I like assume there's no way to get out of it. And I think I'm like stubborn in that way where I probably could take a shower in the middle of the day and reset.
And I feel bad of like not doing that. And then I have all this guilt, shame are built around it that kind of builds up even more.
Same. Smoking weed always helps is kind of my last ditch effort.
Nice.
Yeah. If I'm having a bad day, like on a weekend and I can't get myself to do anything and I'm like mad about it, smoke a little bit of weed and suddenly I'm off hyper-focusing on something in the house for 4 hours straight,
I find a good nap and some forensic files always does the body good.
Healing.
That's how I deal with it. Not well.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Neither one of us said like, we go on a walk.
Yeah.
We get some exercise. We call a friend.
Yeah.
Reach out socially.
Yeah. No,
I isolate.
Isolate, TV, TikTok.
Spiral, smoke weed.
I don't drink any water.
Yeah, I usually have trouble like eating actually on certain icky days, which just makes the problem even worse. And then I'm like mad and fussy and hungry.
I like won't take my meds because I don't know. I spiral. Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of it is truly like that difficulty with transitions out of emotions where, I'm just like, this is how things are and I'm going to feel like this forever.
Yeah.
So,
I don't really like consciously. Yeah, we don't have. Yeah, not well. I think is the answer.
If you have good strategies for dealing with icky days, let us know.
Let us know.
We're
Do you
open
have
to
an
it.
icky day ritual? Should we have an icky day ritual?
Yeah,
I think part of the process is like by the time I realize I'm having like an icky day, I'm like, well, I'm too far gone.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it.
Yes, there's no turning it around.
There's no turning it around. And I'm just going to have to ride it out until tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm like, I have to go to bed and that's all I can do.
There's no like, I'm going to take a walk and I'm going to sit in the sun and
regroup.
I'm going to open my dopamine menu.
Yeah.
No, I'm just like,
get my day back on track.
Yeah. Nope.
Almost in like a way where I kind of think in a sick way I like am enjoying having the excuse of having a bad day, you know?
I find now that I have Fridays off, if I'm not down here recording, that's my icky day. I have like one icky day a week.
Sometimes you need an icky day.
And I'm just like, I'm going to fold laundry and do the dishes. And it's like, no, I'm going to rot on the couch with cats.
Yeah. Yeah, mine happens when my days are just not structured enough.
Yes.
Like even if my do nothing time is structured, I feel a lot better than it's like, I didn't have a solid plan before going to bed. And now when I wake up, I like can't really create a plan for myself. So I'm kind of just floating around all day. And I'm on TikTok, but I'm feeling shame about it. So I'm not really enjoying it. Yeah, that's what I
The other
really
thing
think
is
like
if you open TikTok early in the day, forget it.
Fucked.
Yeah, you're so fucked.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of Brooke and Connor make a podcast in the morning I've subscribed to their Patreon essentially. It's different than Patreon, but you can watch them on video and
oh, nice.
That's kind of my good in between between TikTok and like nothing.
Yeah. I find, like on my Fridays, so I have nothing structured and I'm like, oh, I should do all these things.
Stop shitting yourself.
But I end up just like doing nothing because it's so unstructured. So
yeah, I need some structure as much as I don't want it. Yeah. And then some days, like especially in the last couple of months, just the weather has been feeling so icky.
Oh,
like
it's
the gray
been so icky.
And the rain.
Yes.
And I think if anything, these like sporadic, beautiful, nice sunny days have made it worse.
Because then you're like, this is how it could be.
Yeah.
But it's
and you're
not.
reminded of like, oh yeah, I've been living like this for months. And then you see a glimpse of the sun and you feel so much better. Like I started cleaning out my house and doing all these tasks. And then we went back into the gloom and I just like lost all motivation.
Same. I was
so
like,
depressing.
oh my gosh.
I'm like, what's wrong with
I want
me?
to jump off a roof.
Right? But like, that's it. That's what's wrong with me is I saw a glimpse of what could be. And then we went right back into darkness and coldness.
Yeah. Well.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope whoever wrote in that question, I hope that helped.
Or maybe
I think what the purpose is you're not alone. Because this person wrote in, they're having an icky day. It's hard to get out of it. You're not alone because we also have icky days and we don't handle them well.
Yeah. And I guess we don't even necessarily need activities for like what to do when you're having an icky day. It's more so what could be done mindset wise to make us willing to get out of this icky day.
Yeah.
Because it's really, us like leaning into the ick.
Yeah.
That is the hardest part.
I'm leaning hard.
Yeah. Like there are things I could do.
Yeah.
If I did them, but
and
I'm not
sometimes you just need to lean into the ick, but then don't feel bad about leaning into the ick and just enjoy the ick. You know?
Sometimes it's nice to have like a rainy, grumpy day, like where you lay on the couch and you watch Gossip Girl and you play games on your phone and whatever, you know? We need those days.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, you feeling warm?
I am actually feeling a bit warmer.
Well, we got a meaty episode for everyone today. We're talking about a hot topic. But first, let's do a little accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yay. Little accomplishments, but big in our hearts. Grace.
Yes.
What did you accomplish?
I repainted our chalkboard wall in the kitchen. We've had it for a while. I don't use it nearly enough. Whenever someone comes over, they're like, "Oh, that's a great idea, chalkboard
You're so
wall."
organized.
I'm like, that's been up there for months. It's said the same thing for months.
That's all right. You use it when you need it.
It becomes a part of the background. Yeah, I feel like sometimes I do need to have a big surface to like get all of my thoughts out onto. So it is really nice for that. It's just been like junky in the kitchen for since we moved in and immediately had the bidet overflow and it ruined the ceiling and it's just been unfinished for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So Ian finally finished the ceiling
and
like repainted it, which inspired me. Talk about if you give me some muffin. I was inspired to repaint the chalk wall beneath that nice freshly painted ceiling. And now it all looks really nice. And I think
it does look nice.
I'll use it more now that it's cleaner and nicer and or I won't. Either way, I repainted
think it's very much like a peekaboo planner for you.
Yeah.
Where
sometimes there and then other times no.
Yeah, sometimes you use it and other times no. And when you use it, it works well. And when you don't need it.
Yeah. And I'll take the praise for it, you know? Yeah. I'm proud of myself.
Great.
Kristin, what did you accomplish?
I actually I'm calling it an adjunct accomplishment. I just want to, So I didn't accomplish this, but Christopher did. I don't know if he was inspired by you cleaning out and doing some spring cleaning or I don't know.
It was probably me. I am a pretty big influence on people.
I don't know, but
I'm going to take credit for it anyways.
Went through all his clothes because he has this little rinky-dinky closet. And I'm like, why don't we get you a dresser? Why don't we do this? Because you have so many clothes and they're overflowing. And he went through all his clothes and he has like a nice solid bag to bring to some sort of somewhere.
And that will sit in the garage or whatever for the next 7 years.
But the thing is he's done it.
It's out of the closet. That's what matters.
In order to do that, we had to get everything out of the closet, which is now in the living room. So the living room's messy, but that's okay.
What matters is the closet.
Part of it is my mess. But we're also we're like finding like old blankets. Like, do we need these blankets? Do we use these blankets? And
it's a lot of decision making to go through stuff. I think such a hard task.
Maybe I'll get those like space cubes because we have a backup comforter now in case Snickers vomits on our regular comforter. So where do we put that? Comforter's kind of a big thing to store.
Yeah,
so
space cube. That's a good idea.
That's what I'm thinking. So I got to order some of those. But but I'm very proud of him for doing that because I think he really has a hard time. He is a semi-hoarder. But we've talked about this before, but it's usually because later down the road, he'll find a thing. He'll find a use for it.
Yep.
And so he's almost like confirming his own biases.
Same. That's exactly what I've done.
And I hate it because I don't think I'm a minimalist, but I'm a tosser.
Yes, you are. You're a tosser.
I'm my father's daughter.
It'll be a fun sentence for our British listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean in British?
I don't know. It's like not quite a slur, but it's like
oh no.
calling someone a tosser is like a bastard, I think. I gotta look it up. Cue the music.
Okay.
Oh, it's kind of like a wanker. Or someone,
is it like bad?
Someone who engages in self-stimulation. It's kind of like calling someone a wanker. It's a milder version, according to Google. It's a milder version of the term wanker.
Okay.
So it's not bad.
Okay.
But I think it's more said in like a playful way. But yeah, British people let us know because
how bad is it?
I think it was just funny that you called yourself a tosser.
Whoops.
Yeah, let us know because. Yeah, listen.
I am someone who...
You're a tosser.
I'm a tosser.
Yeah, Kristin's just a tosser.
That's what it is.
You are.
But I'm very proud of him. I think that's hard for him to do. He just loves to save things for later.
Whenever I get rid of something, I seem to always need that exact thing right after I get rid of it. And I've done the same thing.
Same way.
Yes, and it creates this like fear and this like scarcity mindset.
Right.
That happened to me with like 90s clothes where I had all these neon shirts. I'm like, what the fuck? Why do I have these? What am I going to do with them? Got rid of them. The next week, this was out in Oregon, we got invited to that 90s
party.
night.
And you're like,
God damn it. I knew I would need those.
But
I get it, Christopher. I get it.
I get it, but at the same time, there's too much stuff.
Yeah.
Our house is not that big.
Yeah.
Your closet is not that big, but I'm very proud of him. So I just wanted to say big accomplishment for him.
That's a huge one. Yeah.
I was pretty proud of him.
Yeah.
So.
I'm proud of you too, Christopher.
And the thing is he can never do any of this while I'm in the house. Anytime he cleans, he has to be, I don't know what this is. His most productive is when I'm not around.
Yep. Same. That's
why?
How I am too. My mom's like that too.
It's
for me, I think it's the fear of being interrupted and not having any distractions around, there's no chance of being interrupted. There's no chance of like, even, I don't know if Christopher, you experienced this, but for me, I think part of it is like having parents or a mom that was very observant of what I was doing at all times, and like always had questions. You go out the front door and it's like, where are you going? What are you doing? You go upstairs and it's like, where are you going? What are you doing? And so I feel like I don't want to have to explain my actions to anyone. And Ian doesn't make me explain my actions, but I think I just have that feeling of, I don't know, whenever I go somewhere or do anything, I'm worried someone's going to comment on it. And I don't even want to like engage in commentary about my behavior. I want to just be able to get in the zone, be in my own world and kind of just do my thing. So I get that.
Yeah, I get it too. Kind of. It turns into like, we make fun of it. It is a little difficult for me because I enjoy like a good group clean. Like I have to have
love the body double.
I love to body double and I need to body double.
Yeah.
So much so that like when he comes upstairs from doing whatever he's doing, I'm like, oh, now I can get to work. Good thing you came upstairs.
And he's like the total opposite.
And he's like, you don't have to get up for me. I'm like, no, I need to get up for you. And it's difficult since we are polar opposites, but we talk about it a lot. I'm trying to learn to accept the way that he is, and he is learning to accept the way that I am. I think he's concerned that when I like immediately shut off my phone and get to work the second he gets upstairs, he's like, no, I don't want you to have to like get up for me.
That's what I was wondering about. Like, do you think that comes from a place of having parents who didn't let you rest and who like whenever, and my parents were like this too. And so I have that too where, and Ian does it too. He'll like, when I come in and he sees me cleaning, he'll like get up and feel like he has to start doing. I'm like, nope.
I think
I have no
part
care.
of it, but also I just need that like accountability. I enjoy having someone there to account for, so much so that sometimes when I write episodes, Christopher will just sit and crochet in the background in my office.
Nice.
We're actually thinking about like rearranging my office so I can put a couch in there so I just need some accountability. That's why I could never work from home.
Yeah.
If I ever work from home, I'm coming down here.
It's tough. Yeah. It is hard.
I need the accountability, and I need someone to just like be in the room with me to get me motivated. And sometimes it's just like a little bit, like I just need them to sit for like 10 minutes so I can get started.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just different people. But regardless, I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, that's a big accomplishment.
I think it was really hard for him to do some of that stuff because some of these clothes are like really old, and he has a lot of emotional attachment to his clothes because some are from concerts and some are for, but
that's
some
hard.
of them need to go.
Yeah, it's like you're just ultimately not going to wear this thing anymore. But yeah, I get that. Speaking of being a tosser, real quick, when Ian and I moved out to Oregon and I started working at the school I worked at, I was taking over for the former SLP, Linda, who was my mentor, but she was there for like 25 years. And so she had just accumulated so many books and worksheets and whatever in the speech room. When I took over, I get very overwhelmed about like having to go through a big amount of things, whether it's like going back and re-editing your essay that you wrote or whatever. Like I just hate going back through stuff. And that was my first weeks at this school, and I was like not happy about it. So I was so overwhelmed with it that I just got rid of like a ton of shit, like threw it away, which maybe isn't the best, but I was like, I can't even deal with this. I just have to dump a lot of it.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff I found in there was so old and so crazy. Like a picture of a boy in like a wooden wheelchair. I'm like, what is this from 1920? But I found this. She had this weather book from like 1984 about like the weather system, and it was just like so old and so ridiculous. And I told my friend Abby about it, who also worked at the school, and unbeknownst to me, she had told the principal about it, which I didn't realize. And so this is my new principal. I've only known him for like a week. He comes, and he's a cool guy, but he comes into my office and he goes, "Hey, Grace, Linda used to do this lesson every year in the beginning of the school year. It was about like the weather system. She had like this old book for it, and she always used it. And it was like the school-wide thing. Every year she would do this lesson on this weather book. Like, do you know where the weather book is?" And I was like, oh, fuck, I got rid of it. And I was like freaking out. And then he started laughing. He's like, "No, I'm just messing with you."
Oh, that's really
And that's how
funny.
gullible I am. Where I'm like, oh my God, Nathan needs this book.
Right? Not the weather lesson.
I'm like, oh my God, the weather book. I just threw that out.
Threw it out. No, it's from 1986.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Classic. All right. Anyway.
Well, great.
Yeah.
some little accomplishments.
And big accomplishments.
Are you ready to get into our meat?
Please, I'm hungry. Give me that meat.
It is the meat. Our meat today, we are going to learn about ADHD and caffeine. Have you heard of it?
I very much have heard of both ADHD and caffeine.
Okay,
and the combo.
You and I are both caffeine drinkers.
I love it.
Yeah,
love this stuff.
What's your association with caffeine?
I have never been a coffee drinker at all. I tried to go through a phase, wasn't feeling it, but I've always felt this craving for stimulation. Like I just feel like I've always been like a sleepy gal.
Yeah.
So when I was in like high school, for years and years, I used to take caffeine pills. Like,
really?
Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm so scared style,
Oh, from Bell's on
Saved
the
by
corner?
the Bell?
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so excited. But yeah, I never got to like that point, but I would, and I like hid it and felt a lot of shame about it because I felt like I wasn't supposed to be doing this thing. But I didn't like coffee, and I just felt like very tired all the time. I took them all through high school, all through college, and then I think I discovered, like, first of all, I got on medication for ADHD, so that helped things a bit. But then I also discovered like pre-workout and energy drinks because my mom is like very anti-energy drink. Like Lily and I would have to hide them if we ever had them.
Energy drinks scare me.
Yeah, as they should. They are scary and they can give you heart attacks. And like I went through a phase which was not good where I was drinking way too much pre-workout. I would drink pre-workout like at work because I just felt like I needed this boost. And I would drink Bang energy drinks. Like I've just always kind of had not a super healthy relationship with it, but I've always really sought it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. I'm a everyday caffeine drinker, and sometimes multiple cups a day. I think recently I've been drinking quite a bit, so much so that I've like talked about it with my doctor, among other things, and she said I need to, one, apparently not eating enough protein, so I have to go on a low sugar, low protein, or high protein, low sugar, low caffeine diet, and she's all about like lifestyle modifications, which I also enjoy. She's lovely, but this is killing me. So I've this is the first time since over 10 years I've switched to not drinking coffee in the morning and trying to switch to tea. It's difficult.
What tea are you doing?
Just black tea.
Oh,
it's like
so
vanilla. It's black tea with vanilla, and I put a little honey in it and oat milk.
All right, so you're getting some caffeine.
Yeah, and so usually I'll have like what I thought was like cup, but ends up being like half a pot because I make like a big pot of coffee in the morning, or like a half pot, and I drink the whole thing. So then a half a pot, and then another one mid morning.
Oh my God,
that's too much.
That is a lot of coffee.
So yeah, that's a lot of coffee. So I realized that like my 1 cup is actually maybe like 3 cups, and that's too much coffee.
Yeah.
I don't think I will ever not be on caffeine. Because then I pulled a Kylie and I was like, if the world ends, I'm going to go through so many caffeine withdrawals because I'm not going to have it. So yeah, I'm an everyday caffeine drinker. I have been for like over 10. I think I started heavily in college. Like I think in high school I would do like, let's go get a Frappuccino. But then once college started, I was like, well, this is my life now. I'm perpetually tired, so I will need a coffee. And I also think just in America, there's a big coffee culture. I think a lot of different states, not states, countries have a coffee culture.
Yes, ours isn't like culture. Ours is like an addiction.
I think it's
a cultural caffeine addiction. Dependency. Because it's not like we're super fancy. It's not like Colombia where they have this culture around their coffee.
Like making coffee, or like Italy where they have a cappuccino or something like that. It is, I would say it is culture, but it is different.
It's capitalism.
We have a big takeout culture here. We have a big coffee to go culture.
I think it's self-medication under capitalism.
Probably.
Is what it is.
Yeah. But according to the National Coffee Association, which I didn't know existed, 62 of Americans are daily coffee drinkers.
62%?
62.
62%
of Americans.
Yeah, you said 62 of Americans.
62% of Americans.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not just like 62 people.
Yeah, 62 Americans are every day. And I'm one of them.
Just 62. One of the 62.
No, 62% of America. So over half are everyday coffee drinkers.
And does that include like children in that percentage?
I don't know.
Because that's a crazy amount if that 62% includes like of all humans.
You know, I didn't look
not
into
just coffee
it,
drinkers,
but that is
age.
a really good, I wonder where they got that statistic.
Right? Because if it's out of like just coffee drinker or just adults, that's one thing. But if it's out of like all people.
Yeah. And so, and tea also has caffeine in it. And so globally, the top 3 tea drinkers are Turkey. Turkey's number 1.
Whoa.
Ireland, and then the UK is number 3.
That makes sense.
UK
is 3rd?
Yep.
Wow.
Turkey's number 1.
All right, Turkey.
Yeah.
You guys love your tea.
We love your tea. So what is caffeine? The chemical composition is CHH10N4O2, which I expect you all to memorize.
I got it.
It's a stimulant, and then so there's a couple things that can contain caffeine. Coffee, tea, obviously, and chocolate. Actually, the darker the chocolate, the more caffeine it has. It's a stimulant. It's absorbed into the bloodstream. It crosses the blood-brain barrier where it acts on adenosine receptors. It's an adenosine receptor agonist. Now, what is that? Or antagonist, sorry. Excuse me. An adenosine receptor antagonist. And what does that mean? Adenosine is a compound in our bodies that has several different functions, including vasodilatory effects, which means our blood vessels expand to let more blood flow in, usually in your parasympathetic response. So remember, your sympathetic response is that like fight or flight. Parasympathetic is your relax. Vasodilatory and sleep effects, and more specifically in the brain, adenosine receptors are often paired with dopamine receptors. And when adenosine receptors activated, it will decrease the sensitivity of the dopamine receptor. Right? So it's almost like blocking the dopamine receptor.
So why would we like that? Why would that be good?
Well, so for like sleepy time, you don't want like a huge dopamine stimulatory effect, right? Or when you're relaxing, you don't need that like high dopamine output, right? Dopamine's not good all the time. Just like if you smoke meth all the time.
Hell yeah, morning, noon, and night.
Yeah, it's not great, right? It really messes with your brain. You can't be on all the time. You have to have that,
then
like,
it won't feel good.
Right. You have to have that, like, rest and relax. So for every for everything that's stimulatory, you need to have like the opposite response for. So caffeine, as an adenosine receptor antagonist, caffeine will block the adenosine receptor. So caffeine is basically blocking the blocker to dopamine.
Oh. Okay.
So it's a dopamine blocker.
Okay. So it creates, more dopamine. Gives it, right?
It makes our dopamine receptors more sensitive because they're able to sense more dopamine because the thing that's blocking it is no longer blocking it.
Okay.
So it's not directly stimulating your dopamine receptors, but it is allowing the dopamine receptors to be more active.
I got it. I thought you were saying that the caffeine is what reduced the dopamine receptors, but you're saying was that
adenosine receptor, which is natural in our bodies.
Okay. So it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. So it is blocking the blocker.
All right.
So we can have a more response to dopamine. It
okay.
also does a lot of other stuff, but we're gonna just stay on the straight and narrow of like how this affects our brain when we're talking about dopamine and ADHD.
Yeah, why might ADHDers be drawn to something that gives us more dopamine, I wonder? Is there a connection there?
Interesting.
Could that be?
So let's talk about ADHD and caffeine. How can caffeine help ADHD and / the self-medication of ADHD? Caffeine treatment, self-medication has been found to increase attention spans, improves learning, memory, and olfactory senses, improves your sense of smell.
Whoa.
One study found that pre-treatment with caffeine improved spatial learning in rats with ADHD-like symptoms.
Whoa.
Remember those rats that we were talking about that are like...
We still need to do our autism
Yeah,
rats.
I kind of looked into it a little. This is when I got off track. There are like rats that are being bred to have ADHD-like... We'll talk about it later.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then one study, this study was really interesting, found that the use of caffeine decreased symptom severity in U.S. Army soldiers with ADHD. So it was a study by the U.S. Army. And they made like some comments about how the soldiers were like really into like Monster Energy drinks. And I'm like, why am I not surprised?
Yeah.
Or like they just said energy drinks, but like
I'm sure it was Monster.
But how could caffeine harm ADHD? Caffeine has several different side effects, including high blood pressure, heart arrhythmias, which is like funny heart rhythms, dehydration because it's a diuretic, so it makes you pee more. So even if you're drinking, what my issue is even though if I drink enough water, I drink so much caffeine, it doesn't matter. I just pee everything out. Hence, lower caffeine diet. Restlessness, insomnia, anxiety, tremors, and in certain cases, acute toxicity, which can lead to death, right? You can also build up this tolerance to caffeine. And if you stop caffeine abruptly, you can go through withdrawals, which is a real diagnosis in the DSM-5. Withdrawal symptoms can include a headache, which can last up to 3 weeks, which is wild.
What a nightmare.
I do go through withdrawals. Like I have to have caffeine every day or I get a huge headache.
I have to have my tools.
Right.
I don't think I ever don't have caffeine. Like I don't remember the last time didn't.
Yeah. Like usually I haven't had, now that I'm like decreasing, because I'm decreasing in small amounts. The first day was really rough. I did have a headache all day. If I don't have caffeine by like 11 o'clock in the morning, I'll start to have withdrawals.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about how many people are just like absolutely nightmarish to baristas in the morning when they're trying to get
I have to have my coffee.
Yeah, when they're like flipping
they're
out
probably
and yelling.
Going through withdrawals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like these are addicts demanding their fix. You know, they're not just angry people at the drive-through window. They're like literally going through withdrawals.
That's why you always tip your barista, because they have to deal with you while you're like in acute withdrawals. Yeah.
I know. Poor baristas.
Yeah. So it can include a headache, anxiety, depression, fatigue, and even flu-like symptoms.
God. I know. I wonder how many people have experienced that and they like just never even made that connection. You know, you go on vacation or something and you're not drinking coffee like you usually do, and then you feel really sick.
And you're like, why do I have a headache? Why do I feel like a flu? Yeah, it must be a stomach bug.
Because it's so normalized. It's not like, well, I'm an alcoholic and I stopped drinking alcohol this morning. It's like you don't like caffeine and coffee are so normalized.
Right.
I would never probably even think that this must be caffeine withdrawal.
I only know from experience that when I have headaches, it's usually because of caffeine withdrawal or dehydration or both.
Or both.
Yeah. Also, in a small amount of people, caffeine can cause a paradoxical effect. In other words, it can make you sleepy.
I hear that a lot from ADHDers specifically.
So, yes, in ADHDers specifically. And there's a number of theories of why this is. One could be due to altering your natural sleep-wake cycle. Because, you know, when you're drinking coffee, you're most likely tired. You're trying to stay up late to study or something. And it's just like altering that natural cycle. One, because of the overstimulation and then subsequent crashing out, basically. Like you're getting so much stimulation and then your brain just can't handle it and you're donezo.
Like a puppy.
Yeah. And then another theory, these are all theories. Another could be because of the dehydrating effects of caffeine. And you just get sleepy.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian could drink a Red Bull before bed and go right to bed.
Wild.
Yeah, I don't relate to that at all. And he also like doesn't do a lot of like stimulant seeking behaviors the way that I do.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. I also wonder if it's like, because if it is a stimulant seeking, it's kind of like when people try Adderall for the first time and they're like the quiet. And maybe they're like, oh, it's finally quiet. And then they just get sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some people are like, if I have caffeine after like noontime, I'm toasted. I think that's you because you're not toasted, but like you can't fall asleep for the rest of the day.
Yeah. Well, it's really just those yerba mates, not yerba mate like the traditional tea beverage. It's like the canned bastardized energy drink version. But those are something else, man. Not in like I don't get jittery from them. I think they're wonderful. But I literally can't drink a whole can after 10 a.m., 9 or 10. So otherwise I just like won't be able to go to bed that night, like at 11 p.m. that night. So yeah, I feel like I need a lot of caffeine to get up and going, but I'm also very sensitive to it, which is weird. Like I consume a lot of it, but I feel like it's not giving me the effects I'm looking for, so I keep consuming it.
Yeah. I think we've built up a tolerance to
I'm sure.
good effects.
God, the amount of bangs I used to drink, it's upsetting.
I didn't know you were a bang drinker.
Oh, I was big into bang out in Oregon. They're big on the West Coast.
Yeah, bangs are huge on the West Coast.
I was drinking bangs and pre-workout.
That's nuts.
Isn't that so scary?
Wild.
I could have given myself a heart attack.
Yes. That's scary.
I know.
Kind of winding things down here. Could caffeine be used as a treatment for ADHD? I think this is all the articles I read were like, could this be used as a treatment? Could it be used? Probably not. Like, I think we all know the answer to this. It's probably a no.
I think it's just like something to do on top of other stuff. Like, I don't think it's like a primary treatment.
That's
I think
exactly
it's like a supplementary.
Yeah. I love caffeine. I drink it every day, but is this a good treatment for ADHD? Probably not. I didn't do like a full meta-analysis, systematic review, in-depth research of caffeine and ADHD, but based on the several research articles, blog posts, textbooks, and expert websites, along with 2 different podcasts I listened to, my opinion is no. I see the reason why ADHDers love caffeine, because we love that it makes our dopamine receptors more responsive.
Oh yeah, give me that dope.
Right? But 1, it has a lot of side effects. And then 2, it has a really short half-life, which means it's not like totally left your body, but basically the chemical has been processed enough where it's not really going to work anymore, which is about 5 hours. So
that
if you think
about like a solid amount of time.
Well, if you think about it as like a medication, so what are you on? You're on Adderall XR, right?
Yeah.
So you take that once a day in the morning.
Yeah. Lasts like 12 hours or whatever.
And it lasts about 12 hours, right? This you would have to take about every 5 hours. And then like, how do we dose it? We do use caffeine in medicine for certain things, but it's usually in like neonates to help them breathe better.
Whoa.
Yeah. Why? We don't have time for it. And I don't really know.
Okay.
I try to stay away from the babies. But it is used as a treatment. So there is a way to like properly, we're not like giving babies like an espresso, right? It's like properly dosed and it's gone through an IV.
Espresso enema.
Espresso. Yeah. I mean, they do coffee ground enemas.
Hopefully not for the babies.
Not for the baby. Hopefully never for the babies.
God.
But yeah, if you're really constipated, there are better choices than that. Don't do that.
Don't the Kardashians do those like every day? Caffeine enemas. I think Chloe's like obsessed with them.
Maybe,
I think you become, maybe it was it them or someone else was talking about like becoming addicted to them, of the coffee enemas specifically, because you're getting the caffeine and then you become addicted to it.
Is it?
I don't know. I gotta look into that.
Coffee ground enemas are like a lot.
Where did I get that from?
Just take a little bit of Miralax every day if you're trying to like have normal bowel movements. There's no need for you to like do that every day unless you're like very, very constipated.
I think people get addicted to the feeling of the enema too, you know?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah. Especially if you're obsessed with like thinness.
Obsessed with their bowels.
Yes. If you're obsessed with like thinness and like clean eating,
right.
I could see an enema making you feel like this is the cleanest I've ever been, you know, when it's really like you're stripping your body of necessary lining, I think, in some ways.
I mean,
you can.
Unless you have like a medical condition, a little bit of fiber and sometimes a little bit of Miralax, you know, just eat fiber. Your poop will come out when it wants to come out, you know, no need to like. Unless you have a medical condition. Sometimes there's things like when you take opioids, you know, if you're like post-surgical, you're taking all these opioids for pain, you're going to get constipated.
Yeah.
And you should take something for that. Should that be a coffee ground enema? Probably not.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Probably not.
There's better options.
Yeah, this says you can get addicted to coffee enemas. Caffeine enemas may lead to caffeine addiction, as the caffeine in the coffee or tea enema is absorbed by the veins in the anal tissue.
Oh my God.
People are out there getting addicted to coffee enemas.
That's wild.
If you're addicted to coffee enemas, let us know. Where'sTheFeather@gmail.com. Or if you've ever tried one, let us know. I want to know what. I want to know why, and I want to know what it was like.
How do you get into that?
Yeah.
How are you like, this is what we're doing now?
Imagine if you're like, I can't stop. I have to do a coffee enema every day. I bet you could like get yourself to the point where you can't poop without it.
I always think about now that Kylie's been on our on our podcast and about like the gas tank thing. Now everything I do, I think about like, what if the world collapsed? What would happen to these people who are addicted to their coffee ground enemas?
Yeah,
you know,
God, they're gonna have a tough
I'll
time.
have a coffee headache, but they're gonna like How are they going to shit?
They're going to be constipated.
They're going to be constipated. They're going to have a headache.
Yep.
They're going to have probably flu-like symptoms.
Yeah, they're going to be looking for a fix.
Wild.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy.
Anyway, these are things I think. So anyway, it's got a lot of side effects. There's a risk of tolerance, as we just talked about. And it has a short half-life. And due to these things, I think it can't really be considered like a legitimate therapy for ADHD. I think that'd be hard to dose. And I think the dose you would have to do would probably put you at risk to a lot of these side effects.
I know some parents will give their kids like espresso beans to bring to school.
For ADHD?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So that where it come, I think as a supplemental therapy, sure. From what I've read, it sounds like it'd be great. And I think that's what you and I both do.
Yeah. I feel like that's what most ADHDers probably are already doing.
Yeah, exactly. I as a first line, I don't think so. I also think we already have a gold standard, which is stimulants, which works really well for lots of people with less side effects than like arrhythmias.
Yeah, my caffeine intake definitely went down a bit when I got on stimulants, but then like anything, it's like now that becomes your new normal.
Yeah.
And I think part of the caffeine thing is just for anyone but ADHDers specifically, like at least for me, I'm always just looking for something different to do. I'm always looking for a way to change my mental state or my physical state or whatever. I'm just looking for some kind of change. And drinking caffeine is like just a way to change something about your current mental state. So I think that's part of it too.
I like the stimulation, but I also like the ritual. I like to drink coffee while I get ready in the morning. I like to drink coffee on my way to work. I like drinking it.
It feels like you're like leveling up, you know?
Yeah, I'm like this is part of my getting ready. You know, I do my eyebrows and I drink my coffee, you know?
Yeah. So I feel
I'm like ready for my day now.
Yeah. It's hard to kind of break that aspect
of
it.
Yeah, it's a hard cycle to break. I'm changing. I don't think I'll be totally off caffeine ever. No. And I don't think I'll be off coffee ever. But I think I have to change. I need to make sure I don't drink too much because I do think I get like really affected by it and fatigued and incredibly dehydrated.
Have you tried switching to decaf yet?
Well, there's decaf and there's half-caff. And decaf doesn't really have a lot of caffeine. So I'll switch to half-caff. Because I've seen that in the stores.
Yeah, try that out.
And go from there.
Yeah.
I do have decaf at home, though. So
replace the ritual. Don't try to eliminate it.
Right. So, like, sometimes, like, on, like, a snowy Saturday, I'll just make a pot of decaf and I'll drink that all day instead.
Sounds cozy.
It is cozy.
I wish I liked coffee.
Yeah, I do enjoy the coffee.
I feel like it's a whole culture I'm missing out on, you know?
Yeah.
But I just don't like it.
Yeah, no, I'm learning to enjoy tea. I've learned that it tastes better when I put like honey and milk in it.
I go lemon. Lemons.
You're a lemon person.
I'm a lemon in the tea.
Yeah. And then Christopher actually picked it out because he liked it and then he never drank it again. But it's this like black tea with vanilla in it. It's very cozy. So, but yeah, I think as a supplemental therapy, sure. I think this is great. I think stimulants are great as a first line and they're technically the gold standard. So we have like an established dose. It's effective. We have like the extended versions. I think, you know, there's all these like, it seems to me that people are looking for anything but a stimulant to treat ADHD.
Yes.
And
they're so much safer than
they seem so much safer and more with better results than anything,
right?
You know?
Yeah, people are so scared of stimulants. Right. Meanwhile, there are people in the news all the time who are dying from caffeine heart attacks.
Right.
There was some like 28-year-old girl who just died a few weeks ago. She was drinking like 3 bangs a day.
Oh, yeah. Or the Panera Bread thing.
Yeah, the charged lemonade.
The charged lemonade that people were drinking.
So it's like I think people are scared of stimulants because they're like thinking of it as caffeine. But it's like, no, caffeine is actually much more dangerous and it's way more commonplace.
I think everything's fine in moderation. I think for some of the trend lately with like everything's like energizing and it's very like, does this actually have caffeine in it? Like, I think there's some things like they're putting caffeine in candy now. Like there's certain candies that are like energizing candy or energizing. I've seen gum with caffeine.
Yeah,
or the
I've
Mio,
tried that.
The little Mio drops that are energizing. Those just have caffeine in them.
I've tried pretty much every form of caffeine that you can try.
Pre-workout is just caffeine. I had a patient once who was like, oh, like I know we're here for surgical post-op, but this thing has been happening to me every time I work out. At the beginning of my workout, my heart feels funny. And I was like, whoa.
Thanks.
And turns out he's just drinking a bunch of pre-workout. And I was like, well, you know, that's all caffeine and maybe you should stop. Also, please go to your primary. Don't tell this to me.
God.
I'm just here to look at incisions. But yeah, I think in this day and age, at least in capitalistic, modern, end-stage capitalism society, America, I think there are a lot of food products and drink-based products that are like sneaking caffeine in it without like blatantly saying this is caffeine. There's a lot of like energizing or recharging or like morning, you know, it's caffeine. Whenever you hear these like energizing and recharging things, it's caffeine, and you just need to kind of, you know, read your nutrition labels and just make sure, especially if you are sensitive to caffeine. And then when you look, it's like in the little tiny thing, like how much caffeine. I think it should be more blatantly labeled because it is a stimulant and people have conditions where that could be really effective. If you already have like a heart arrhythmia and then you take a bunch of caffeine, not knowing it, you're probably going to have side effects. So I think it should be more accessible on the label of like how much caffeine per thing.
I also think if you're at a stage in your life where you're consuming so much caffeine to the point where it feels dangerous and it's like no matter what you're doing, you can't seem to get enough caffeine to make it through your day or to get your brain working and you're just like consuming more and more of it. Unfortunately, it might require a lifestyle change because for me, it was like I was drinking. Usually I would do 1 bang a day, but then I would also have pre-workout on top of it. And then I started kind of going up to like 1.5 bangs a day.
The bangs
and then I would go up to 2 bangs a day. And
that's
it's like,
way too much.
That's so much caffeine. And turns out I just needed to stop being a speech pathologist because there was no amount of, I was already on medication. I was already on Vyvanse. And on top of that, I was doing that much caffeine.
Wow.
So it was like I was looking for a cure that just was not going to be found in caffeine because the cure was stop doing a job that's so mentally demanding on your executive functioning that you don't have. You know, I was trying to like supplement my missing ADHD skills and drinking caffeine is not going to like magically make my brain good at executive functioning. So I think I was just trying to give myself a boost that was going to be impossible because there was nothing that could have given my brain enough of a boost to be able to like handle that level of functioning. It's not the job for me. So if you're drinking a crazy amount of caffeine a day, you're already on stimulants and you still feel like for some reason I just can't get my brain to make it through the day, it might require, unfortunately, some kind of lifestyle change because there's just jobs that your brain isn't made for. Everyone's brains aren't made to do everything, you know? So I think that could be a part of it too, that we're so reliant on caffeine and so addicted to it as a culture because of capitalism and because hustle culture and rise and grind. So we're pushing ourselves.
Hustle culture.
Yeah. It's like pushing ourselves past the point of what humans are naturally able to do. So of course we're like having to supplement our brains to do these things that we're not made for. And some are able to handle it better than others. So I don't know. I know that's like a big switch to make, but like if it's between that and like giving yourself a heart attack, you might have to switch jobs.
Also, we're not anti-caffeine.
No, I
love
God,
caffeine.
I need caffeine.
We both need it.
I think I took myself to the edge and back, you know? Like I don't think I realized
like a recovering
how
addict.
close I was to like doing permanent damage to myself.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
My second year of being in Oregon, because that school year was just hell. I had that crazy parent who was harassing me and making my year fucking miserable. I was chasing kids down the street. I was like behavior,
remember that.
like the unofficial behavior person of our school. And I was just so overwhelmed and exhausted every single day that it really got out of control with how much caffeine I was using.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Yeah. But you can drink caffeine. Everything in moderation.
Yes.
You know, everything's good in a little moderation. So let's talk about different caffeine beverages and how much caffeine they have. And then for context, according to the Mayo Clinic, they recommend no more than like 400 milligrams a day of caffeine. Then we get into like the toxicity. Over 400 milligrams is like when we start talking about like caffeine toxicity, arrhythmias and whatnot.
I think those charged lemonades had like 200 milligrams per cup or something like 200 or 300.
I'm looking it up. That was the one
crazy.
thing I didn't. So we're just to put things into context here. Let's talk about coffee. Coffee, 1 cup or 1 8-ounce cup, which is like your standard coffee cup here in America. Everywhere else in the world, this is about 237 milliliters of coffee. That's about 95 milligrams of caffeine.
Okay.
All right. In the same 8-ounce cup, 237 milligrams. For black tea, that's 47 milligrams. Green tea, it's 30 to 50 milligrams. For your yerba mate, I think this is like legit yerba mate and not your bastardized yerba mate. And it's interesting because it says anywhere from 65 to 130.
Oh.
So I think that's like how much you mix it, right? Because you have to like mix a certain amount with it.
Yeah. It's
so,
probably...
and that's for the 8-ounce, the 237. A piece of dark chocolate, like 1 ounce or about 30 milliliters of dark chocolate is 8 milligrams. Diet Coke, for all the Diet Coke drinkers, that comes in a 12-ounce can or 355 milliliters. About 47 milligrams of caffeine. Because I think there's a big Diet Coke following. And that's a can. And I know people drink more than just a can if you're like really into Diet Coke.
The people who are like into soda are really into their sodas.
Yeah, the Dr. Pepper people, they're on
Dr. Pepper people
they're
are
on a different level.
Something else.
Yeah.
I don't understand them at all. I respect what they do. I don't judge it. I just cannot relate. I don't like Dr. Pepper in any capacity.
I think it's okay. I just really don't enjoy soda that much.
I love soda.
The only soda I like is a Baja Blast.
Baja Blast.
It's like the only one. And
Diet Pepsi all day. I would drink a Diet Pepsi every day if I let myself.
Oh, you're a Pepsi person.
Because of Robin, because of Jake and Elena's mom. She always had Diet Pepsi.
Interesting.
And I loved it. So it feels like a special treat because I wasn't allowed to have it.
Let's talk about energy drinks. Celsius, which is it's sold in either a 12-ounce, which is 355 milliliters, or a 16-ounce, which is a 473 milliliters can. So the 12-ounce can can have 200 milligrams of caffeine. And let's just remember, 400 milligrams is our max before we start talking about side effects. Or the 16-ounce is 270 milligrams of caffeine. So if you're drinking 2 of those, you're over your max. A Monster energy drink is 160 for a 12-ounce can. A Bang is in a 16-ounce can, and that's which is 473 milliliters. That's 300 milligrams.
That's
for
crazy.
1 Bang.
That's so much.
Wild.
I can't believe I would drink that and energy drink.
And Vyvanse.
And pre-workout. Yeah, and
that's
40 milligrams of Vyvanse.
Yeah,
I definitely went through a Celsius phase as well.
Yeah.
I
the Celsius
became a clean eater, and I went from Bang to Celsius. So
I think Celsius has good marketing. They're marketed as like cleaner than
I don't
like
think
Monster.
they are. I think they're
I don't think
a
they
big
are.
lawsuit someday.
I think they have a ton of caffeine. 200 milligrams is so much caffeine.
I would drink 2 of those sometimes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Panera Bread thing.
Yes.
So if you don't know, if you're, outside the U.S., when was this? 2023. So this is a couple of years ago. There was a big wrongful death allegation lawsuit that I think Panera Bread had to pay out because they made these caffeinated charged lemonades.
But they didn't label them.
They didn't. Well, they were charged, but they weren't like, we talked about this, the nutrition labels, they weren't like really labeled as like, this has caffeine and this is how much caffeine you have. So the drink for a 30 ounce, which is a big drink. So wait, 30. So that's, it's almost a liter.
Liter cola?
Like a big gulp, basically. It's 887 milliliters. So for that big drink, you're getting 237 milligrams of caffeine, and it's available for refills. Although, so it says that this is a article from Very Well Health. And it said this drink is highly caffeinated. A large 30-ounce charged lemonade with ice contains 237 milligrams of caffeine, although Panera previously listed the same drink as having 390 milligrams of caffeine. So now we're borderlining. Why that change was made, not sure. Probably because of this lawsuit. So having 390 milligrams of caffeine, we're already bordering the max level of what you should have. And they say it's more like taking 5 8-ounce cups of coffee a day. So 5 regular cups of coffee a day. All at once. And they're available for refills. So I think the issue was this. It was discreetly labeled as caffeinated, but it wasn't like overtly labeled as caffeinated, especially something with that much caffeine.
Yeah, if I saw charged lemonade, I would assume, okay, this probably has like, I don't know, 60 milligrams. Like I would assume it would be like a supplemented thing. Not
right.
Like people are drinking it as if it was lemonade when really it was an energy drink.
So what was happening is people were drinking these and then getting the free refills that it came with. So now you're drinking like almost 800 milligrams of caffeine, and so some person died from this.
Didn't a couple people die?
I think at least 2, and 1 was hospitalized because it wasn't like clearly labeled. I think if you like went on the website, you could look at it, but it wasn't like on their menu.
Yeah,
and I think that's an issue that we have because I think there are. I think anything with a high caffeine amount should have like a very clear label of how much caffeine there is.
Yep.
Because there are side effects, just like any drug.
Yeah.
There are side effects with everything.
Yeah,
as much as we
casual
love it.
about it.
But yeah, there was a wrongful death lawsuit because of that. And so I don't think they make those anymore. I think they've just taken them off the menu.
Probably smart for a place that does automatic refills.
Yeah.
Like those need to be in can form, something that's like a small contained dose. Right. They need to be given to you in like a
30
dose.
ounces is just so much fluid to begin
Imagine
with.
drinking 2 of those. Also, I looked it up in my yerba mates. They're like the
can
Gayaki brand. I don't know if that's how you say it, but yeah, it's the canned one. They have 150 milligrams of caffeine.
Okay. So it's like a Monster Energy drink, basically.
Yeah, but I don't feel jittery from them the way that I do with like other energy drinks. So they do feel different, but
the other thing with
still
an
have
energy
caffeine.
drink is like what else is in there?
Yeah. I know bangs felt very medicinal. They tasted very medicinal.
They taste like straight up
they all do.
Chemicals. Yeah,
they all taste like battery acid. So that can't be good.
It can't be good.
It can't be good.
It can't be good for you. What is in there?
Right?
I guess like Coca-Cola is also not great for your stomach lining.
Yeah. Yeah, true. So.
Anyway, but yeah, so I would, and you know what? If you're like, I love Bang, that's great. You can drink it. You know, you have the free will. I would just say, just be careful.
Yeah,
you know,
be aware.
There's a reason why we love stimulants, and there's a reason why they can be bad for us. You know, with everything there's side effects. You know, like we talked about, Adderall has side effects, and all these drugs that we talk about that have side effects. Caffeine is a stimulant. It is a drug, and it has harmful side effects. So just monitor it. You know, myself included. I'm kind of like talking to myself right now. Like, watch yourself.
Yeah. Yep. Same.
But yeah, I'm very pro caffeine. I love it. I drink it every day. But I am, especially now talking about this episode, I'm a little bit more weary of like how much I'm drinking and how it affects me. Yep. I think when I'm feeling tired, sometimes I just need like actual water, and I'm like, oh, I must need another coffee. But it's really I haven't drank anything all day.
Yeah, I think it leads us to like being able to turn to a quick fix a little too easily. Like sometimes, you need to get up and move your body. You need to drink water. Maybe you're hungry. Maybe you need to go out in the sunlight. I think it's like kind of just a Band-Aid to be able to slap on top of a lot of underlying needs, which I find myself doing as well, you know, because it's so much easier to drink something than to get up and like move my body. So yeah, I think we can all just be more conscious of how often we're like reaching to it for a quick fix.
Right. Drink some water.
Yeah. Try other things on
try
top
to
of
be
caffeine.
Hydrated.
Try cocaine if you need, you know?
Yeah.
Talk about a boost.
Talk about have you tried methamphetamines?
Yeah, there's lots of options.
Right? I just thought it was really interesting. It's so much caffeine.
Yeah.
The bangs scare me. there was a person I worked with who would drink multiple of those a day and then ended up in the emergency room for arrhythmia.
God. I got lucky. Like, I'm lucky.
You are lucky. Yeah.
I was really irresponsible with it.
Yeah. They were like, I don't know. My heart feels funny. And I was like, well, what have you eaten? And they're like, I've drank 3 bangs. And I was like, oh, okay.
God. you should be dead right now.
That's the other thing. Healthcare workers drink so much caffeine.
I bet.
It's wild how much caffeine, especially like, I think it's interesting, different specialties in their caffeine consumption. I guarantee you number one's going to be the ED because it's all people with ADHD because you're jumping around.
Yep.
And it's just like this high stress environment.
Yeah, or you got to be on.
It's so much caffeine. Anyway, that's just me musing. Are you ready for our bod?
Well, yeah. First, we got to like end the episode and everything.
Oh, true. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you found this enlightening.
Yeah.
Kind of a shorter but sweeter episode.
That was good. It was informative. We're at an hour, so.
Oh, shit. Okay.
We're good.
I thought I was like, geez, I don't have much to say. But
I know. Like 30 minutes ago, I was like, wow, this might be a really short episode. No, we're at an hour now. We filled it. We managed.
We managed.
We managed to fill the time. Didn't think it was
occupied.
Possible, but we did.
Here we are.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're at an hour.
I know.
Okay.
Flew by. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, we have plenty more where that came from. Go back into our archive and listen to more. You can like, you can follow, you can subscribe. We've got a Patreon. Grace is doing the Lord's work, talking about her favorite AuDHD characters and neurodivergent characters.
Yep.
We have some merch you can buy. You can visit our website. You can look at that. You don't have to. And
you have to.
And then you can also, if you're like feeling extra generous, you can help keep this train afloat by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/weirds of a feather. You can give us a little coffee, keep us going, our little 3-man team, staying afloat. Or you can, just reach out to us. We love hearing from you. We love getting emails. We love getting DMs. We just love to hear from the listeners because it's really you guys that keep us going.
Yeah. Let us know about your own caffeine intake and your experience.
Tell us about your caffeine
intake. Your favorite
intake.
kind.
Yeah. Your favorite kinds. I know you're out there. There's a bunch of you.
Yeah.
Probably all of you.
Yeah. Let us know. Because I've tried the gums. I've tried the candy.
Yeah.
I've tried a million different types of drink. I've tried the caffeine pills. Like, I feel like I've explored it all. So
if there's patches, you can get caffeine patches.
Never tried that. That
one
might
at a
be
time,
a slippery
please.
slope.
One at a time, please.
Yeah. Don't send yourself to the hospital.
I don't really know where you buy those.
Maybe let's just stay away from those as a general rule. I don't think we need those.
Careful. Look at your milligrammage.
Yeah.
All right.
Stay away from the enemas.
Yeah.
Unless you need them.
Gosh,
unless they're medically necessary.
If medically necessary, sure.
Otherwise,
I feel like that's a you don't want to be that person.
Yeah, the enema person.
Like, I'm really struggling because I'm addicted to coffee-based enemas.
I can't stop shoving coffee up my asshole. I'm addicted to it. The feeling.
That is
coffee going up and then out.
That's one of those things I would take to my grave. We've talked about like people like sharing things like generously on TikTok and stuff. Embarrassment.
Yeah.
That is something that would, leave the world with me if I had some sort of something like that.
I feel like enemas have become too normalized in society where people like the Kardashians talk about it. People, I don't know, celebrities talk about it. It's like at the end of the day, you're talking about shoving a tube up your butthole.
You know what we should
normalize?
Squirting
a liquid up there and then having poop come out of your butthole. And the Kardashians are talking about doing
normalizing enemas. Start normalizing routine colonoscopies.
Yeah.
All right? You're 45, you need one.
Please.
They're diagnostic and therapeutic. Let's get those polyps out of there. Let's have a high fiber diet. Let's do preventative treatment. Okay?
Yeah.
We all need colonoscopies. Sure, you can poop in a cup and send it to Cologuard. You know what they're not going to do? Take out those polyps. Let's normalize that. Routine screening about your colonoscopy.
Love it. And if you're feeling dirty, get a bidet. Why don't we have bidets culturally in America?
I don't know.
It's big toilet paper.
I was just about to say
big paper.
Big paper.
Yeah,
they ruin everything.
Using toilet paper.
Get a bidet.
Evolve.
If you need a colonoscopy, sign up.
Please.
Do
it for us.
Yeah.
Get your buttholes checked for us.
Right.
If you won't do it for yourself, please do it for us.
Exactly.
All right. Let's end on that. Let's get into that
that's
bod.
a good note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got your bod?
I've got my bod.
All right.
I want your bod.
Nice bod.
This bod was recommended by you.
Yes. Well, I was looking into the bod that was recommended by Jamie, which was the fuzzy backed tit
Tit babbler.
Tit warbler, babbler.
Babbler. It's a babbler.
I was looking for that one.
Yeah.
I came across this different one.
Yeah.
The streak-breasted
Scimitar
babbler.
Different babbler.
And I thought, we could do that babbler as well as the tit babbler.
Yeah, we've already done tit babbler.
Yeah. You've heard the tit babbler. Get
Now
ready
it's
for the
streak-breasted scimitar babbler.
Scimitar babbler.
God, who is naming these birds?
It's a lot of letters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this bird.
Please.
It's found in Bangladesh, Bhutan, China, India, Laos, Nepal, Vietnam, that area. And it can be identified by its distinctively curved bill, reminiscent of the scimitar sword, which is the sword that everybody in Aladdin has, just letting everybody know if you're not on like sword talk.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to pronounce that word scimitar, and Kristin was like, "Oh, like the Aladdin sword." I was like, what?
Yeah,
but yeah, she's right.
It's like a pirate sword.
You know
it's like
swords.
curved. It's what they all have in Aladdin. Look it up.
Yeah, imagine Aladdin sword.
Yeah, Aladdin sword.
Scimitar.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And also looking at the pictures, it's not that curved. Let's relax. I was expecting like super curvy. It's a little curved.
Yeah, it's not like a sickle.
Yeah. I guess that's what I was expecting.
Sickle?
Was a sickle.
No, it's a scimitar. Come on.
It's a scimitar. So it's got a slight curve. So let's everybody relax, okay?
Yeah.
It's not as curvy as I was expecting.
Yeah, so just like calm down.
Yeah. But I guess sure. Anyway, let's listen to this fucking bird.
Please.
It's like echoing itself.
I know.
You know, it sounds like it's like double echoes. I like this one.
Yeah. Sweet. I know. Thought it was nice.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. You're welcome. I think we got close.
It's got the straightest. Look at this beak. That's a straight beak. That should be a longsword babbler, not a scimitar babbler.
That doesn't look like a scimitar.
Who's naming these birds?
Well, I wonder if different birds have different curves to their scimitar beaks. And maybe does more curve show a more masculine bird to be chosen by the ladies.
I just don't think that.
I think someone really wanted to show off their use of the word scimitar. And so
they should have found a different bird.
You know what that bird's beak reminds me of?
Maybe
scimitar.
Maybe I don't know enough about scimitars to make the association.
I think you know plenty about scimitars.
According to Aladdin, they're quite curvy.
Yeah. Well, Aladdin might be a bit of an exaggeration.
I take Aladdin as truth.
Yeah, hard historical
truths.
facts.
Yeah.
All right, anyways. I forgot we were fading out here.